Good morning. My name is Matt Mikulski. I'm the Health Transformation Fellow, finishing up my 2 years of research here with the Texas Center for Pediatric and Congenital Heart Disease. As part of our monthly Quality Assurance Conference, the research conference, I will be reflecting on the Health Transformation Fellowship to hopefully assure you of the quality of the research. But to get a little bit of an idea, we kind of have to get some background of why I came to the Texas Center for Pediatric and Congenital Heart Disease. And that began way back when I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. So my mom was a pediatrics resident, eventually went into neonatology in Pennsylvania. And so my mom was in medicine. My dad at the time was selling cars, and then now he owns a carpet business. So very different people growing up and different influences. But spent most of my time in Jersey. In red is Monmouth County, and most people associate that area with the Jersey Shore, the TV show. If you have watched it, it's not anything like that. If you haven't seen the show, please don't. But from New Jersey, grew up there most of my life and had a big impact on what I did. Worked as a camp counselor right at the beach. Worked a bunch of things with my mom as a neonatologist, so worked with kids my entire life growing up. Then I went to undergrad and didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. So I saw my mom working 60, 80, 100 hours a week in the NICU and decided at the time that I didn't want anything to do with medicine, and yet here I am now. So I originally matriculated at the University of Notre Dame. Picturesque, awesome place to learn, was a wonderful experience. And I originally started in anthropology, having the study of human nature and societies and languages and archaeology and things like that. So it was a great experience. I spent time as the little leprechaun changes over to bones. I worked in a bioarchaeometry laboratory looking at bone remains from folks from Jerusalem, so very different than medicine. The gentleman on the screen was one of the first reasons I ended up going into medicine. He's Dr. Paul Farmer, was an infectious disease specialist, founded the organization Partners in Health. And so the anthropology nature of societies and mixing that with medicine, he was the first one that really got me thinking about medicine and ended up changing my career trajectory to go into medicine rather than staying in academia and anthropology. During my senior year, I had the opportunity to study abroad in Santiago, Chile. Gorgeous country, recommend anyone go there if they can, but learn Spanish during that time. No, this is not the Texas flag for all you Texas-centric people. This is the Texas flag. But my time in Chile really shaped how you experience different cultures and how you can integrate into that type of society. During my last year of my undergraduate studies, I was also influenced by this gentleman, Dr. John Mira. He's a pediatric plastic surgeon at Boston Children's, worked closely with Dr. Paul Farmer, and he came and talked to us about surgery and surgery in a global health type of realm. And so his influence was the first time I'd really been exposed to surgery or contemplated going into surgery for a career. So he was a big early influence. And lastly, I spent, because I got into medicine so late, having started in anthropology, I was a little behind on the requirements for medical school. I had to take a year off in between and worked as a pharmacy technician. While it was a little bit of a mundane job at times, it really helped me understand what the end product, the end consumer has to deal with. So a doctor has to prescribe medicines or things like that, but they actually don't always know what the impact is on their patients and how they interact with insurance companies, how they interact with the pharmacies to get the meds that they need on a daily basis. So it was a really interesting and gave me a lot of perspective once I got into medicine. So then I went to medical school, as you would expect. Matriculated at Drexel University College of Medicine, so in Philadelphia, moved back east after my undergrad studies, was the president of our pediatrics interest group and really thought I was going to be going into pediatrics during that time frame. Like I said, I've always wanted to work with kids. However, then I moved across state to Allegheny General Hospital, which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. and spent the year out there. And my favorite rotation by far during that time was the time in the surgical ICU and on surgery. So I wanted to then combine those interests, but I still wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. So during my 4th year, I spent some time at St. Christopher's Hospital for Children in the ICU and on PD surgery, and really cemented that I wanted to go into a more surgical field. And so I had plans to go into general surgery, had rotations in colorectal surgery at the now unfortunately defunct Hahnemann Hospital, did some rotations away at the University of Utah and at the University of Virginia on plastics and some transplant surgery. So really, really amazing experience at each of those institutions for different reasons. Then the match happened, and I matched in general surgery at Bay State Medical Center. It is a 700-bed hospital, has had a general surgery residency for over 50 years, so pretty established and well-regarded program. Located in Springfield, Massachusetts. So there are spaces outside of Boston within the state of Massachusetts. So that star on the screen is Springfield. So we had a large catchment area of 2 million people spanning from lower Vermont, lower New Hampshire, eastern New York, northern Connecticut, and obviously the big expanse that is western Massachusetts. So spent my PGY 1 and 2 years there performing a variety of surgical rotations, including trauma, plastics, colorectal, surgical oncology, and pediatric surgery. However, you'll notice that none of the following were during that time. So no rotations in cardiology. I mean, that one's expected as a surgical residency, but nothing in cardiac surgery, and absolutely no experience with congenital cardiac surgery. So we get into the question of why am I here at TCPCHD? I had research in a kind of a smattering of different fields. So on the right side of the screen, you see a mass spectrometer. And that was what I did on my bioarchaeometry laboratory. I took bone collagen, dissolved it down from the bone remains, sent it through this mass spectrometer, and is able to look at your carbon and nitrogen stable isotopes to look at diet reconstruction of monks in Jerusalem. In the top left, some of you may be familiar with the lamb in a bag, also known as the Extend system, which is being developed at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. During medical school, I had the opportunity to spend some time in that basic science laboratory, which is very interesting and really showed me what research really entails on a basic science level. And then did some clinical research. As you can see at the bottom middle is what's called the POEM procedure, or per-oral endoscopic myotomy, and it's a treatment for achalasia. One of our surgeons in my department at Bay State is a big proponent of POEM, and we've been doing some projects with that, but obviously nothing in this realm. However, as I wanted to go into pediatric surgery, you really kind of have to go into research for a dedicated amount of time for the fellowship position. I knew I didn't want to go into basic science based on my anthropology background. I wanted to do more clinical or substantive kind of bigger picture type of research. And so I didn't want to go to a basic science lab, which is the traditional route for pediatric surgeons. So I learned about the Health Transformation Design Program, the HTD program at Dell Children's here. Things that really brought me here that were super interesting were the ability to do more qualitative research, survey-based, experience groups, learn about value-based healthcare and how that can impact people both on an individual basis, on a condition basis, and on a societal basis. Obviously, the opportunity to continue working with children and move towards my goal of doing that. The opportunity to get a Master of Science in Healthcare Transformation is baked into the program, which was an amazing experience and amazing opportunity, and the ability to learn how to be an independent researcher as a new program when I had just started. The program was 2 to 3 years old at that point and was still a growing, differentiating entity. So during the first year of the fellowship, I took the Master of Science in Healthcare Transformation. These were the 9 classes that went throughout the entire course of the master's program. One that was super interesting and is a big topic of Dr. Fraser's interest is leadership and communication. Most surgical residents and most doctors in general get no formal training in leadership and communication, but are expected and thrust into that role and are supposed to just know it. So having the ability to learn about leadership and communication was a huge part of my training. Having things like finance and payment, be able to be in those financial conversations and be able to read the room, read the conversation, be able to contribute is very important. And then our experiential learning project, which spanned the entire year, helped us implement the things that we learned throughout the year. So this is a photo of graduation. I graduated 21st grade. 5th grade me would have been extremely upset that I was still in 21st grade. But at that time, graduated, so I could say a UT Austin alum, hook 'em horns officially, and graduated as the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society, which was given to the top 10% or so of the class. So hopefully I did reasonably well, and I was happy that my parents were able to make it down for the graduation ceremony. So entering the actual fellowship and the research components that I did, because Andrew Well, the previous Health Transformation Fellow, was still here and stayed on his research faculty, he had already taken up a lot of opportunities. And so my job and what I felt I needed to do was expand beyond the TCPCHD and expand our reach to other departments and other opportunities. So we had previously used the Texas inpatient discharge data set on there, and I expanded our database research by expanding to the Pediatric Health Information System, getting access to it, learning how it worked, and really being able to delve into projects with that. Collaborated with our surgical education researchers at Dell Medical School and was able to be very productive in an interesting field of mine. There was this black box called SickBay, which is a high-frequency data capture software, and being able to learn how to use big data and elements of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Additionally, the Comprehensive Fetal Care Center with Drs. Moise and Bebbington had just started, and so I was able to collaborate with them, as well as some work that was primarily through the Value Institute, which runs the Master of Science in Healthcare Transformation, but worked with the Comprehensive Care Clinic and their long-term, their program of kids with complex needs. And while it was a difficult process, I broke through the OR glass ceiling, was able to start doing moonlighting in the operating room with Dr. Frazier, Dr. Mary, and everyone else. And it was an amazing experience to be able to learn that area of surgery, and the orchestration that they go through is second to none. So really interesting, really informative experience, and able to obviously apply that as I move forward in my surgical training. So because this is a quality assurance conference, we got to go by the numbers and see what I got into over the course of the past 2 years. So research meeting, which is every 2 weeks, presented too many of them to count. I actually lost count of how many I did. Presented twice at our monthly journal clubs, so once per year roughly. Our quality assurance conferences, including this one, brought me up to 4, 2 regarding sick bay projects and our collaborations using that platform, and 1 with our electrophysiologists and how we've been performing research in the electrophysiology realm. So not just surgery. This fellowship is about all of the different specialties within congenital heart disease. And in terms of productivity, had abstracts accepted to a number of conferences, including 25 national or international conferences, and a lot of those are duplicates, but regional or local projects, including here at the University of Texas, or say the Southern Surgical Association or the Southern Texas chapter of the American College of Surgeons got things accepted to 30 plus presentations. 2 grants accepted, nearing almost $100,000 worth of funding. And from a manuscript standpoint, had 2 editorials, 1 case report, and 8 original investigations accepted as of today in the middle of June that have been accepted for publication, 5 as first author, 3 as second author. Which we'll go into a little bit, that there's quite a few more coming down the pipeline, but those are the ones that have been officially accepted so far. So pretty productive. So we'll get into some of those right now. So can't get out of a surgical specialty without going to surgical conferences. So had a number of abstracts accepted to the American Association of Thoracic Surgeons, the European Association, the Congenital Heart Surgeons Society, and the International Society for Heart and Lung Transplantation. So big conferences within the field of congenital heart surgery. Beyond that, was able to get accepted to a number of adjunct relevant conferences such as the Pediatric Cardiac Intensive Care Society, International Pediatric Transplant Association, and the American College of Surgeons, as well as cardiology-specific ones such as the Heart Rhythm Society, the American College of Cardiology, and the World Congress for Pediatric Cardiology and Cardiac Surgery. That one's coming up in a few months here. So I had a number of things accepted to each of these, including work with Marfan syndrome and in congenital heart surgery fellowship training at the AATS, looking at Turner syndrome interventions to the European Association, pericardial effusions after congenital heart surgery with the Congenital Heart Surgeon Society, and a systematic review looking at the Berlin Heart VAD explantation that's happened over the course of time as that device has been adopted more and more. To some of these societies, we had some of our sick bay projects looking at blood transfusions to the Cardiac Intensive Care Society, Marfan syndrome transplantation, and additionally some work with the Comprehensive Fetal Care Center and Drs. Moise and Bebbington on fetal myomeningeal surgery. At the cardiology-specific conferences, we looked at our cardiac electrophysiologist participation in our morning report. We looked at neonatal congenital atrioventricular block, and a number of projects that will be presented at the World Congress at the end of August of this year. And some other ancillary conferences that didn't have to do with cardiology specific. We included a couple projects to the Association for Surgical Education. I continued collaborating with some folks at my home institution at Bay State, accepted to SAGES, the Society of American Gastrointestinal and Endoscopic Surgeons. Did some work with some of our medical students and was able to mentor one of them to the American Society of Breast Surgeons in a breast surgery project. And some of the more nuanced aspects of that high-frequency data capture with sickbay, was able to work with one of our chemical engineers, and he presented a project at the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. Moving on to manuscripts, just as impactful, if not more, than the conference presentations, had a case report accepted to JT-CVS Techniques about a 15-millimeter mechanical prosthesis, the smallest put into the smallest reported baby in the literature, looking at surgical education projects during the core surgical clerkship. Again, using the POEM project, got a publication in surgical endoscopy. That pericardial effusions project went to the World Journal of Pediatric and Congenital Heart Surgery. The projects involving that fetal myomeningeal surgery got into the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, their MFM journal. That breast surgery project was accepted to Journal of Surgical Research. Some other projects in surgical education to the Journal of Surgical Education. Our neonatal congenital AV block was accepted to JACC Clinical Electrophysiology. And the most recent, led by Dr. Fraser, was investigating the role of the training process for congenital heart surgeons. And last but not least, we had a grant that was recently accepted for almost $92,000 as a quality improvement and a research endeavor that's going to be moving forward to procure and install noise dosimeters throughout our cardiac ICU to help track the noise levels, allowing people to empower patients and families to say that things are too loud, we need to be able to sleep, we need to be able to recover during this stressful time, both for parents and for patients. So it gives a visual representation of green is fine, yellow getting a little too loud, and red too loud. But in addition, it measures those sound levels known as decibels on a second-by-second basis, and we're going to correlate those with hemodynamic events and hemodynamics through sickbay in the future. So a lot of different applications forthcoming from this grant. We're really looking forward to that. Projects ongoing though, so we had 8 manuscripts accepted and a couple other things, but quite a few things coming down the pipeline. Currently have 9 manuscripts, additional manuscripts submitted, 5 as first author, and helped out with another 4. Have 1 grant pending for about $250,000 to the National Institutes of Health. A textbook chapter on tetralogy of Fallot submitted with Dr. Fraser. and another 5 abstracts that have been submitted to national or international conferences are waiting for a response. And then a couple others that we've been that are circulating with co-authors should be submitted shortly, include another 2 manuscripts and a case report, and still drafting another 4 to 10, depending on what your numbers are, or assisting. So probably about 5 that I still have to finish up drafting that I'll be first author on or completing, and another 5 to 10 that that I'm helping out other people that are taking the lead. So, and helping some students out with some case reports. So hopefully those will get finished despite moving back to residency soon. Some of those ongoing projects include those in sick bay. We've been looking at thrombosis detection from central venous lines, trying to create a trajectory map of hemodynamics after congenital heart surgery. There are value-based projects, including time-driven activity-based costing in rounds, doing a subset of our journey map project, which is something the Heart Center is very proud of, and looking at specifically the interstage between stage 1 and 2 of single ventricle heart disease. Abdominal-specific projects, looking at cell-free DNA and necrotizing enterocolitis. That's one that's submitted to the NIH. And doing a number of other projects, including balloon atrial septostomies for our dextrotransposition of the great artery patients. So a number of projects that are still going, and hopefully a lot of them will get completed in the near future. But beyond just the hard manuscripts acceptances that have been done, this program has really taught me to be a jack of all trades with regards to research methodologies. So as I mentioned before, I had been kind of all over the place with my research, had done basic science research in mass spectrometry and chemistry, had done basic science lab research, pipetting and working with those with the fetal sheep, but hadn't really learned how to become an independent investigator. And a lot of these programs really helped during that process. So R up in the top left is the statistical processing and statistical language software that I've grown to love and hate, but now can perform all of my own statistics for almost any project. Learned how to use Python and learned how to code. Use Miro up in the top right, which is a way of being able to create really good figures for publications. Learned how to use REDCap, which is the bottom left, which is a means of being able to both do institutional, multi-institutional data collection, capture, how to create those, how to use those to the best of their ability. The bottom middle is Asana, and that's a way of being able to really structure your number of projects and how you move throughout your day, how you structure your time, has been instrumental with all of the different competing interests that I've had. And in vivo in the bottom right, which is what we use a lot for our qualitative projects, and being able to code for different qualitative projects, and being able to look at surveys, look at interviews, and look at themes, and be able to collaborate with those. So have expertise in a lot of different areas of research that I did not have before. And going into that, there's a lot of different types of things I've worked on. So in qualitative research, can conduct and perform experience groups, allowing patients and families to be the experts in their field, and us learn from them rather than us dictating questions to them. Doing surveys through paper, REDCap, telephone, etc., performing systematic reviews. I am now very familiar with the NIH grant process, can write textbook chapters and know those processes, and the breadth of quantitative research, including retrospective reviews, database reviews, performing prospective studies, and even going into large data and artificial intelligence machine learning techniques with my work on the sick bay projects, which are still ongoing. So my goal was coming here was to become an independent researcher, and I can do almost anything in research now if I want to. So it's a invaluable experience to get that breadth of research experiences. Overall lessons learned from time as the fellow: technology can be a blessing and a curse. It is extremely difficult to do large data, for example, for sick bay. Technology is amazing until it doesn't work, and being able to bridge those conversations between the folks that design the software or are doing the data analysis from a statistical standpoint, being able to have that conversation between both and be facile on both is his amazing bit of experience. Always be open to new or unexpected collaborations. Like I said, there were a lot of different areas of research that were kind of, I don't want to say locked down, but were already taken care of. So I took advantage of any one that I could and worked with sick bay, surgical education, worked with our MFMs on projects. So always open to new or unexpected collaborations. Learn from Dr. Fraser to always have methodical attention to details as you move forward. That you can learn from anyone, and we'll get through some of the thank yous at this. The Tech Center for Pediatric and Congenital Heart Disease is a huge village, and everyone has things to contribute, things that you can learn from, even if it's not in your field. And with that in mind, it's all about the team, and no one person gets the job done. It's the work of everyone and being able to collaborate with everyone that makes the ball roll, makes things work. So next steps for me, I have to obviously finish all these manuscripts and revisions that are currently submitted or to be submitted, so still have some work left to do. But soon going back to Bay State Medical Center for my PGY 3 through 5 years and finish up my general surgery residency. Have an existential crisis during then to figure out what I want to do, whether I go into pediatric general surgery, pediatric plastic surgery, or pediatric heart surgery. And then go to fellowship or fellowships and continue on the road towards helping children. But one thing that I've learned over the course of the leadership course in the master's program through a number of different leadership initiatives, that it's always good to have a guiding light throughout your life. And so while I don't know exactly what I want to do just yet, I do want to improve the lives of children through surgery. And so that's my long-term goal, and that's encompasses a lot of different ways that we can go, ways that I can go in the future, but definitely want to improve the lives of children through surgery in some way, shape, or form. Now moving into thank yous, these are just in alphabetical order by first name, so there's no preference to people on the slides, but like I said, it takes a village to do everything. So had invaluable help from the Value Institute and learning about value-based healthcare. Had a very productive time in surgical education led by Dr. Brown, but had some amazing medical students that I worked with that helped get projects done. And Dr. Beckerman, one of our congenital heart surgeons who left the program to go to Duke, but he was invaluable during my early experience here to really learn how to perform research and learn about surgical education, which is an interest of mine and was a really interesting area of inquiry. To the Comprehensive Fetal Care Center with Drs. Moise and Bebbington and their invaluable insights and working on a project that was interesting to me. And when I was playing around with learning how to use the FIS database, they were instrumental in teaching me what to do and what not to do during that time. To the Comprehensive Care Clinic and how to really take care of children with complex needs, which a lot of my patients in the future will. So amazing experience, especially working with Dr. Prahani and her vision, and Sherry Santa, who is a patient advocate. So she has a child with complex needs and works full-time at the clinic, and really incorporating their a patient's perspective into the conversation was a really interesting experience. To the sick bay folks and to our statistical analyses with the Department of Statistics and Data Science and the Willerson Center, Drs. Linero and Hausman were invaluable in allowing us to move those projects forward, along with all of the MIC folks. Can't get anything done without strong leadership, so Dell Children's and the TCPCHD leadership. Thank you to all of your organization and helping us to move projects forward and giving us the support we need. And of course, their engine doesn't run without the admin and support systems that are behind them. So thank you to all them, to all the people listed for allowing me to schedule things or work through the different processes here at Dell Children's. Thank you to our IT and audiovisual team for allowing us to look good while we do all the work that we do. Thank you to the anesthesia team for teaching me so much about pediatric physiology. Has been an amazing experience there. Thank you to all of our cardiologists. Have worked extensively with people like Dr. Fenrich on our electrophysiology projects. And even though I didn't work with everybody on this list, I've learned so much on Ed Morning Report and things like that with regards to congenital heart disease. Has been amazing. Thank you to our cardiac intensivists, including Dr. Affolter for that noise project that we were able to get that grant for, Dr. Lyon for all of our work on sickbay, and Dr. Stromberg for his leadership, of course. Thank you to all of our APPs and nurses. You guys really are the boots on the ground that make the things on a day-to-day basis run from a clinical perspective, and I've learned a lot from you overnight on my ICU call nights, so it's been an amazing experience working with y'all. Thank you to our cardiac surgeons, including Dr. Beckerman, Dr. Benslama, who are no longer here, but learned so much from Dr. Superman and Dr. Venardis in the operating room and outside the OR. They've been amazing mentors during my time here. Our OR staff and perfusion teams, they put up with me for the past 6 months that I've been in the OR and learning my way through the specificity that is congenital heart surgery. So thank you to all of these folks that are underappreciated and often not seen by the folks out in the clinic. So thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you to our psychosocial team. That is an amazing part of this program that I haven't seen in any other program, that they're integrated into the daily care of everyone in the cardiac unit, and patients and families are absolutely better off by having a psychosocial team integrated fully into their care instead of just being left out in the breeze during this extremely stressful time for parents. Thank you to our health transformation design program, our quality improvement folks, and our outcomes teams. They get us all the data that we need to perform all the research that we do. Integral part of allowing us to both do research, quality improvement, and really be able to track outcomes in our program, which is something that not a lot of places do. So it's a really big investment, a really big output from them. Thank you to all of our students. I've taught you some things, but you've taught me a hell of a lot of things. Have worked with some amazing students that have been, all of whom have been on projects that we've submitted, got accepted. So you've been, hopefully have been a good steward of your time, and thank you for providing your time to both me and to the program at large. Thank you to our research staff. You guys have kept me sane and been collaborators on so many different projects that it's been amazing working with all of you. And some photos from our Christmas time on the left, and our official photo on the right for the HTD team. It's been an amazing experience working with y'all on a day-to-day basis, and I'll miss you in the office and everywhere else. Thank you to Liz McCullum. She often has a job of herding cats and does so many things with directing our health transformation design program. But the ability to juggle so many things has been an amazing experience watching you do what you do, and for all the support that you've given me over the past couple of years. Thank you to Andrew, the previous health transformation fellow. I would have been completely lost without him here. His knowledge and experience in research, and both qualitative, quantitative, everything has been invaluable, and I would not nearly have been as productive without him here. So and sincerest thanks to Andrew for everything he does and everything he continues to do for the program, for teaching me during the master's program. He stayed on as faculty at the Value Institute, and for looking like a goof sometimes with things like hats and stuff like that. So thank you, Andrew, for all that you have done and continue to do. I'll miss you a lot. Of course, have to give thanks to Dr. Frazier for his vision, for his abilities, for all the things he does for his patients primarily, and for the program. Taught me that every stitch has exactly one place, and you can never be too gentle or too accurate in surgery. The meticulous attention to detail is amazing, and I hope to even be a quarter of the surgeon and academic that you are one day. Not just from a clinical perspective, from a program building perspective, seeing a vision, having a vision, and executing it, knowing what needs to be done, and putting in the work to do it, putting your money where your mouth is, walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So exacting a vision and being an amazing leader and example therein. And lastly, thank you to Dr. Mary, the leader of the program, for the Health Transformation Fellowship Program. Your work has been incredible. There's a reason why people have You've been dubbed a visionary, and you're an amazing teacher on our Tuesday teaching sessions and things like that. Amazing surgeon, and are facile in so many different areas of research and clinical acumen. It's been a very much a pleasure working with you over the past 2 years, and I know we'll continue to work together for many years to come. Not only does Dr. Mary have the smarts and the abilities, he's also got the looks. So can't go wrong with these photos. God, just looks so good. It's amazing working for someone who looks this good as well as good as job as he is. However, so these are some official photos. This is my favorite photo of Dr. Mary, and really puts together the reason why we do what we do. It's all about patients. It's all about seeing children and then adults grow up to be have the most amazing lives that they can, and having that direct impact is one of the amazing reasons I went into surgery, and reinforces that I absolutely want to work with kids. And despite the long hours, despite the immense amount of work that they put in, Dr. Marion Fraser, this is the reason why I got into surgery and why I wanted to work with children, and you got to always remember and center yourself for that. Of course, thank you to my family and friends. It goes without saying that your support has gotten me through some long hours here at the program. Very productive, but it's a lot of work, and thank you to all of them for keeping me sane. And thank you to the Texas Center for Pediatric and Congenital Heart Disease. This is not a goodbye. This is I'll be back, and we'll continue to work together for many years to come. So thank you very much for everything that everyone has provided towards me. Lastly, I'll leave you with some photos. Despite working so hard, you got to get out and smell the cacti sometime. Texas is beautiful in its own way, very different than other parts of the country. Never stop exploring, never stop being outside. I love being outside and seeing what nature has to offer. And these were all within an hour or two of Austin. It's just been an amazing place to live. And I'll leave you with my favorite photo of the fellowship, a mini camping trip I took to Canyon Bend State Park. Very peaceful evening in the Texas shrubbery. But it was an amazing experience here, and thank you to everyone for their time and attention, and hopefully I've assured you of some of the quality at our Quality Assurance Conference. Thank you very much.